So for those who probably don't know, this is part of Think Africa Week. This is the annual flagship event of Think Africa. And Think Africa is a non-profit organization that does a lot of events and activities, programs to empower the African diaspora, but also enhance the collaboration between Finland and African countries. And Think Africa Week is an annual event we do every November, and it's a week long of events. And this year's theme is shifting perspectives, particularly looking at the role of the African diaspora in shifting perspectives in integration, workplace relations, and entrepreneurship. And today, we are doing a collaboration with the Moroccan Embassy for this event, looking at the role of the diaspora then in investing, especially economic recovery and development of home countries. I am really looking forward to the discussion today with our panelists, with the Moroccan ambassador here, and learning how we can take an active part in investing not only for ourselves, but also for our home countries. Let's give ourselves a warm welcome hand so that we can warm up a little bit. Good, yeah. And then I forgot to say my name is Miriam Munezero. And I will hand over to our MC for today, who is going to host us and take us through the program. And Keith Thomas, everyone.
Hello all, and thank you for coming. We have a very nice packed crowd today. The role of investing in the diaspora touches not only us individually or our countries, but also the continent as a whole, and then also impacts the rest of the globe. So coming here together, we're not only just going to go over topics. Our goal and purpose is to actually build, unify behind some ideas, and just take these thoughts further. Today we have a panel discussion, which is going to be led by Pierre Yalo, Brigitte Nervala, Rama Harisi, and Imad Abadi. Sorry. All right. We are graced to have the Moroccan Embassy ambassador here today with us, who's actually going to open the floor and give actually a very nice presentation. So to the ambassador, Mohamed, nice to meet you.
Hello, good evening, everybody. Thank you, Thomas, and thank you, Miriam, for the presentation. I would like also to thank you and your wonderful team for making these events that I am personally privileged to be among you during the last 3 years in all the events that was held by Think Africa. Today, actually the idea of this panel discussion came straight after the very interesting speech by His Majesty the King of Morocco, Mohamed Sis, the King of Morocco, who last August 20, on the occasion of the revolution of the King and of the people, that we celebrate in Morocco each 20 August of the year. And especially that speech was focusing on the investment of diaspora. And His Majesty's first questions was what we are doing for our diaspora abroad to stimulate their investments in the country. So the idea behind this panel discussion today is a little bit to bring to the attention of our diaspora, of the host country, and also for the countries of origin, a set of challenges first that are faced by the diaspora. But at the same time, of course, there is very good opportunities and perspectives. But let me go back to Think Africa, the association, and non-profit association. I see personally in Think Africa as a good example of active society that we really, really need everywhere in Europe or elsewhere as Africans. Because in a time of individualism, we need more solidarity that is rooted in our culture in Africa. And this is also valid for investment and business. I think that Think Africa gave us the opportunity, at least during the years where I had the pleasure to participate to their events, they gave us the opportunity to discuss our problems even abroad, and also to come out with solutions sometimes and proposals, which is very interesting. So I really, really encourage this initiative, and I encourage my fellow citizens here in Finland to adhere to this very good initiative. Ladies and gentlemen, today's topic is engaging the diaspora in economic recovery and development through investment implications, challenges, and perspectives. Just to open a point, don't be confused by the slides or the presentation, because I will say something else. It's just an indication, so don't follow it, just follow me. I'm gonna talk about very quickly. I will be very brief. This is a lot of information, a lot of numbers, and I'm not an expert. I'm just pretending today to be one. So don't be confused with that. There is beautiful cultures, Moroccan's legend colors. So this is more interesting. It's colorful. Yeah, the thematic itself. There is three very interesting elements. The implications are very known to economists of investments, so I won't add anything else. But in the case of diaspora, there is definitely more development for local communities. They bring know-how, they know the local culture, they know let's say, the local precedents. So this is the added value to migrant or an Afro-Fin, for example, when investing in his country of origin. So this is very important in my point of view. There is also the possibility of increase of trade. When there is a community in Finland, or let me take the example of Moroccan communities in big countries, for example, Spain, France, or Germany. There is a kind of specific flow of trade, even if it is in a small scale, but specifically intended to the Moroccan diaspora in that country. Yet, it's a very good example that when you try to invest, those people invest in countries in hosting countries, and there is also the possibility to do it vice versa. So you can imagine how the flow of trade can increase. The other implication is, of course, the transfer of know-how, which is very, very important. So it's a kind of, let's say, is facilitating what we can call, I already raised it with somebody here, that kind of a millefeuille of documentation and administrative procedures. A member of the African diaspora or any other diaspora has the ability to know both sides and probably to find solutions, or at least to come out with easy solutions. There are so many others, many other implications, but they are all positive. And of course, there is the integration of local communities and some solutions, let's say, some solutions, for example, for migrations and other phenomena that are universal. Now about challenges. In my point of view, I think there is two sets of challenges. Those that are, honestly speaking, are very complicated and need then more political will, more, thorough and engaged solutions, because the engagement should be then a political, governmental, civil society, and even in the individuals. The other challenge is the stability. our region, unfortunately, is subject to some conflicts, complicated conflicts. Well, then the stability has an implication or an impact on operational environment for any investment. Then there is the multidimensional risks or crisis. Sorry, there are risks of crisis. Of course, the world now is facing three main crisis. The first one is the pandemic. We are coming from out of pandemic, which is one of the elements of this discussion, probably the recovery from the crisis of the pandemic. Then we have the conflicts in the borders that has implications on food security and also on the world security as a whole. So these are very, very complicated issues that are difficult to solve by one country or even by one group of countries. There is another example of challenges up to now, and probably there is solutions undertaken by the United Nations. It's about the cost of transactions. They are very, very high. I think it's about 6%. If you take some numbers, for example, the African diaspora, without being precise, in terms of remittances, 5 years ago, something like $86,000 billion. If you compare with the 5% or 6% of the costs of transactions of these remittances to the countries of origins, you can find easily how this cost is problematic for investments. Well, then there is the more optimistic, let's say, set of challenges. Because in my point of view, and in Morocco we say it this way, some challenges might become opportunities. Well, I give 3 examples very quickly. Climate change, for example. And, well, of course, when we speak about the problem of climate change, there is the solutions of circular economy, green economy, and the whole structure of the economy, which is intended to be a solution to the climate change, which gives huge opportunities to African diaspora for investments. And in this specific case, I think in the majority of the 54 African countries, there is possibilities and incentives to invest in those sectors. The energy crisis also. There is a lot of opportunities now in Africa because now there is the green energy as a solution or an alternative to other sources of energy. And the same thing for food crisis. I just give very quickly 2 or 3 examples from what my country is doing in Africa. For example, climate change, Morocco has invested a lot on that, and we have even some partnerships with Finland in the matter, but mostly with other European countries, including Germany, France, and something like 15 companies are investing in only one solar station in Ouarzazate, which is the biggest in the world. On food crisis, for example, Morocco also, and the OCP company, which is specialized in phosphate and fertilizers, gives high priority to Africa in terms of assistance and also in terms of facilitating trade with those countries to develop local investments that are linked, of course, to food industry and agriculture, of course. So just to summarize, I think, in my point of view, some challenges can become opportunities of investments in our continent. Then the perspectives, and this is this positive, I think, the positive part of it. The situation is very complicated in our world, but I think Africa now is intended to be, or it is actually. And there is trends in Europe now, in other parts of the world, that Africa is the future of humanity, and it is. If you look at the European Union, they have a strategy for Africa. Finland, for example, have a strategy for Africa, which is a very important initiative. And the approach of Finland of the matter, in my point of view, and is one of the best, because the African strategy is built on one very interesting element before thinking about interest or aid to development or any other matter that we can find in other examples of strategies for Africa. The Finnish one is built, if I remember, on developing, strengthening bilateral relations with the 54 African countries, which is very important in my point of view, because then we start where we have to start exactly, and we are not going to go in in those approaches that put in, for example, conditionality of, I don't know, politics, human rights, all these things. Yeah, they exist. They are very much important, but they are not the main issue for this strategy. Of course, there is also evidence coming from African countries. There are so many examples that there is a political will now to open African continent for the investments through new strategies, innovative strategies, transparent strategy especially, which is a very good solution for the issue of the governance. So mainly, in my point of view, I think these are the key elements of the theme. Still, just say some words about Morocco. Morocco is the second country after South Africa in terms of investments within the continent. Our companies, probably there are some figures, my colleague, thank you very much, prepared for that. You can see all sectors, the position of Morocco, for example, which is one of the, so all those companies, including in banking, 3 main big banks in Africa are Moroccan. So there is a possibility for those banks, for example, as an example, to finance investments either in Morocco or from Morocco towards other African countries. This is one of the examples. But among this, there is also a very interesting set of initiatives, of advantages that Moroccan economy offers to investors. I think it is the most attractive set of advantages in the region, the whole region, especially with a new bill now adopted 1 month ago about the investment. So Morocco, again, opens, for example, to any investor, something like 3 billion consumers market because of free trade agreements that we have. First of all, the new one is the African Free Trade Agreement. We have a free trade agreement with the US, with Turkey, with the European Union, and with 5 Arab countries with the free trade agreement called the Agadir Agreement. So this is an example of what the Moroccan economy can offer. But then when you speak about investment, I know that it's very much difficult for the majority of members of the African diaspora in European countries because of the so many reasons, the high level of expenses. So then the ability to have something to invest at the end of the day is a little bit difficult. But I will show after my words, we will show a video about an experience that I personally had the privilege to assist a fellow citizen living in Germany. He came to me at that time. I was consul general in Frankfurt, and he retired, and he had some money, very symbolic budgets when we talk. It's not symbolic, it's very interesting, but we talk about investments. So he cannot go to Casablanca, neither to Marrakesh to invest. So the idea was where to invest something like 300,000 euros. That's the whole thing, the very, very small budget to. And I can proudly say that his 300,000 euros were very interesting as an investment for 3 reasons. We will see that. We'll probably discover it in the video, very 2 minutes video. That gentleman decided to invest this small amount of money in his native village. And at the same time, he, 3 implications, very important implications. He found a job for 3 persons because so it's yet enough in a community, a small community like in Tinre, right? No, not in, yeah, the city of roses, so flowers, yeah. And then he managed to restore the house, a very old house he inherited from his parents. And at the same time, gave a very interesting promotion to the region itself, because that place, there used to be a prosperous village where Moroccan Jewish community lived and at that time and trade, but they left it, then it becomes a little bit difficult to live in. The idea behind this is it is possible. It is possible, you have just to do the same step. But honestly, there is something. If you look to Booking.com, you can find his hotel. Small is something. It's 35 euros a night in a very exotic and colorful, lovely place in the south of Morocco. But still, he doesn't have yet the authorization to exercise. Well, the issue is linked to new requirements from the government when it's about tourism, because there is a lot of security requirements. So the building has to be really a building that is secure for tourists and the service, all these things. That's why the reason it takes his investment. He started already working, promoting. He has 3 people working, but still just to go back to the challenges that we can face. This is a small investment. There is also a challenge of time, of administrative procedures, but still something that we can, that it is possible to do. We will see the video. Thank you very much. Before we start the video, I just want to thank you all for coming. Thank you very much indeed. The Embassy of Morocco, if anyone thinks to invest in Morocco, or just to come and say hello in the embassy without investing, you can come, very welcome. Our contacts are there. My colleagues, thank you very much to my colleagues who are also working on this event and other things and followers. We are at your disposal for any other information. Thank you very much. Probably let's see what's going on.